Okay, Manly Sea Eagles in the NRL have been fined, and certain administrators have been suspended over the salary cap breach. It was going on over a 5-year period, as was reported at the end of the last year. This came to light. Originally, they were being investigated over match fixing allegations and spot fixing allegations, and the police went in to have a look, and they unearthed, albeit not technically illegal, they unearthed the salary cap breaches, but there wasn't enough evidence to prosecute or go further with the investigation into match fixing. This is how it all came about. At the time that Manly were doing this, the Sea Eagles, Cherry Evans was going to go sign with the Gold Coast Titans. He does so. He signs a nice contract with Gold Coast. It's announced he's going to be joining the Titans. Within 2 days, his move to the Titans is off, and he's had a good contract at Manly, and he's staying at Manly. Now, they were reportedly, I think it was a big contract. It was one of the biggest contracts in the NRL, and it was a big story at the time in 2015. It was all over the Australian press. Barely got covered over here in the UK, but as an NRL fan, it was a big thing. Pre-match programming, when, let's say, Manly were playing Gold Coast, they would bring up this story. It was in the spotlight in Australian sport at the time. This was one of the contracts that was highlighted. He was one of, I think, 13 or 15 players' contracts that breached the salary cap over a 15-year period. That's a whole starting lineup of players at Manly whose contracts were in contravention of the salary cap rules. Now, Daly Cherry Evans was not aware at the time. He signed his contract when he could have gone to the Gold Coast, and he stayed at Manly, that his contract was in breach of these regulations. As time went by, he was aware that something was a bit wrong, and he went to the investigators when they asked him questions, and he wanted to plead his innocence and put forward what he knew. It has turned out that his agents and management who deal with his contracts and deal with the club are the ones responsible. And that Daly Cherry Evans, he's got a tongue-tied name, was not behind the salary cap breach, was not involved deliberately. He was not aware that his contract had breached the salary cap by X amount of thousands, whatever it may have been. But the fact that a whole starting 13 of players over 5 years, contracts breached the salary cap at different points in this 5-year span, that is worrying. The thing is, Manly have got off very lightly. If you look at Parramatta as the most recent example, they were docked points. New Zealand Warriors had a similar breach, albeit smaller, docked points. Canterbury and Melbourne had all their points stripped from the season they were playing in and were playing for nothing. So Manly have got off very lightly with a very serious salary cap breach, which raises the question: is the current system with salary cap, the current system with the NRL, and admittedly possibly Super League as well, fit for purpose? Because 5 years they were getting away with this, and they were only found out through a police investigation into an unrelated matter. The salary cap they have in place in the NRL is technically designed to have a draft system, a youth draft system, such as like the NHL, NFL draft, recruitment draft. They don't have that in the NRL or the Super League. That's the salary cap systems they've sort of got going. They're designed around a draft system, which the league does not have. It is interesting though how light Manly's punishment was, and I wouldn't be surprised if more on this story comes out in the days and weeks ahead, and the ramifications are bigger than we currently realise. Same with this. I don't know what it is about Australian sport today, but the Steve Smith and the ball tampering, that's already having ramifications now, because his domestic IPL team, Rajasthan, have removed him from captaincy. So I would not be surprised if at the Sea Eagles and in the NRL there are further ramifications from this. And this also raises questions about Todd Greenberg's running of the NRL as well. It does raise questions about Todd Greenberg's running of the NRL, considering that he was at the Canterbury Bulldogs, a team which has breached salary cap in the NRL era, so that and in the salary cap era. So it raises a lot of questions about the governance of the game. But I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for watching. I will be following this story as best I can, because over in the UK, the NRL does not get a lot of news coverage. And to be fair, rugby league in the UK gets less news coverage than I think it deserves. I think it deserves more. But I'll follow it as best I can through the various sports websites. And anything else that comes up, I won't be necessarily the first person to break it, but I'll give my opinion on it as best I can. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.